Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give hidayah to the ummah, give the patience to the ummah. We should remember in dua all of the challenges that our ummah is facing throughout the world. With all those challenges, Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, we are still have to remember we are a blessed ummah. In spite of all the challenges, this ummah has been challenged before and faced with many difficulties and have always overcome those difficulties because of our iman, our faith in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I want to just give some reminders of something we already know, and that is our great blessing that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us in Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Even before his blessed feet walked this earth, people were waiting for him, and among those things that were being foretold was even Isa alayhi salam mentioned him, Mubashira bi Rasuli ya'ati min ba'di ismuhu Ahmed, that he told the people about the blessing that would come, and this blessing would be Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Rasulullah, even himself, he described himself sometimes to the Sahaba so that we would continue to have a clear understanding of him. And one hadith, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he said, Anna Muhammad, he said, Qala Rasulullah, Inni li Ismail. Ismail, that he has several names. He says, Anna Muhammad. And we know that Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam was mentioned in the Quran about 4 times. And Allah described that Muhammad is not the father of any of you, but he said that in fact he is the seal of the Anbiya, the seal of the prophets. He said, Wa'anna Muhammad, Wa'anna Ahmed, and I explained Ahmed was mentioned. He said, Wa'anna Mahi ladhi yamhu Allahu biya kufr. That he is Al-Mahi, and Al-Mahi is the one who comes to obliterate or to wipe away kufr. He said he would come to wipe away kufr and unbelief. And this is what he did. He came at a time when kufr and disbelief was at its height, and he came to wipe that away. وَأَنَّ حَاشِرٍ, I am Al-Hashir, the one. And he says that Hashiru الذي يشر الناس على القدم, and the one which mankind will be before my feet. And this is on the day Yawm Qiyamah, that he will be the leader and the first to be raised among those who have walked this earth for all time. And he said, وَأَنَا آكِبُ وَأَنَا آكِبُ الَّذِي لَيْسَ بَعْدُهُ نَبِيٌّ, that I am al-Akib, I am the last, that he is the last of the Anbiya. There will be no prophets sallallahu alayhi wa sallam after him. And this is among the things that he said. There was another hadith that we know comes in many ways, and he described himself to the ummah. He said, I am in comparison to the other Anbiya that came before, the other prophets that came before me. And he said, like a builder. He builds a house, and he says, this builder builds his house, and the house is complete and beautiful, except for one brick. It says that the people go around and they say, this is such a beautiful house. If only it had that brick. And he, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, said, I am that brick. SubhanAllah. So we, this ummah, living in this time of difficulty and challenges, we still have this great blessing that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala azza wa jalla has given us in this Islam and in the event of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And lastly, he sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he reminded our ummah, subhanallah. And this has something to do with where we are today, I believe, in Allahu A'lam. He says that I've been giving preference over the other prophets in 6 ways. He said, I've been given the ability to speak concisely, and we know in hadith that is described, Jawami al-Kalam, that he, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, in previous talks I have mentioned that he is one that had this beautiful way, and we see now this is a blessing from Allah Azza wa Jal to describe and give this message in such a concise, short, clear way where it would not be misunderstood. His word came to distinguish falsehood. So he had this way that was given to him by Allah Azza wa Jal to give this message of Islam, Jawami Kalam. Secondly, he said, I've been aided by fear to be placed in the hearts of my enemies. SubhanAllah. This is one of the things that we are facing today, that people, the enemies of Islam, have a fear of Allah Azza wa Jal. They have a fear of Islam because Islam is spreading throughout the world at such a rapid rate. We are at a time when truth, people are afraid of truth. They want falsehood. So this fear of Islam is now in the hearts of the enemies of Allah Azza wa Jal. So they do what? They lash out like all time. They conspire and they cause chaos on the earth. And this is one of the reasons we are the way we are, because people fear Allah. Thirdly, he said, the spoils of war have been made lawful for me. So as a result, we know that in the past they weren't lawful. So he said the spoils of war were made lawful. And he said, fourthly, the entire earth has been made a masjid, meaning that we, subhanAllah, we have the ability to pray throughout this entire earth, and it's made a source of purification that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given that to him. And subhanAllah, the two last are so important. He, subhanAllah, sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he said, I have been sent. Unlike the other Anbiya that was sent to their people, to their tribes, to their nations, he said, I have been sent to all of mankind. SubhanAllah. Khatam al-Nabi is the 6th. That I am the last of the Anbiya, no other prophet. So he was sent with this great message of Islam, with this last revelation of the Quran, and there will be no other prophets after him, no other messengers after him, no other revelations after him. So we, subhanAllah, are blessed in spite of our difficulties to be in such a great time, to have witnessed, subhanAllah, this event, and to have witnessed the growth of Islam, the beauty of Islam. And we should not belittle or forget our blessings from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We should know that everything with the permission of Allah, the qadr is written by Allah, and we don't always understand it, but we have to accept it. And what we can do is to make dua. Don't give away our weapons that Allah has given us. We think that our weapons are guns and knives and bombs and all these things, but Allah has given us our weapon of dua, to make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to remember all of our ummah that are being challenged, and to know just like when one of the greatest events and sorrows of this ummah was the death of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And Allah told the Ummah, He said, what? When that comes, will you turn on your heels and go away from Islam? He said, many of messengers have come before him. He said, what? When he died, will you turn away from Islam? So when we are challenged like we are being challenged today, our Ummah, not only in Gaza, but in China, in Sudan, in Syria, in Yemen, in Myanmar, I could go on and on, in America. I could go on and on and on, naming places that we're being challenged. Will we now turn and run away from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's blessing of Islam? Abadan, never. We become stronger in our faith, stronger in our iman, coming more to the masjids, coming more as a ummah, knowing our strength is being together like a solid cement structure, like a wall, like a house that was built by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala unite us all in Jannah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give the best of the entire ummah. May Allah give strength to us. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive us. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Subhanaka Allahumma wa bihamdika wa ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta wa nastaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Assalamu alaikum.